40mm rifled barrel with a maximum range of around about 5 kilometres. In this variant, it's called a theatre entry standard, and this means it's prepared to deal with the threats that are seen in both Iraq and Afghanistan currently. So it can be amended, modified, and you'll notice this is slightly different to the core Challenger 2 that some may be used to seeing. Still the same main armament, still a 7.62mm general purpose machine gun, but in addition to that, it's also got a remote weapon station, capable of mounting up to 50 caliber heavy machine gun. It's got additional turret and hull armour. It carries electronic countermeasures and cameras to assist the crew in understanding their position on the battlefield and increase their situational awareness.
Simon, thank you. So how many regiments in the Army 2020 future will there be of these tanks?
Well, the concept is within the Army 2020 to have a reactive force made up of 3 armoured infantry brigades. Each brigade will have a single heavy armoured regiment, which will be a Type 56, so slightly different to what people may be used to. Within these Type 56 regiments, we're going to see each tank troop with 4 tanks, still 3 tank squadrons, and supported by a command and reconnaissance squadron, as well as a support squadron. They will be made up of the Queen's Royal Hussars, the King's Royal Hussars, and the Royal Tank Regiments, and they'll be split on the reactive force, going through the normal force readiness cycle.
So, ladies and gentlemen, he is now in position. Let's hear what happens next.
Hello, a whiskey, 2-3, this is 0. Move now to objective steel and establish the bridgehead force of it. Whiskey 2-3, moving now, out.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard the situation being reported, but of course tanks cannot move without infantry support. So, Simon, what do we see coming into the arena now?
Well, exactly as you've said, Simon. So we now have a Warrior FB 510. Again, this is configured in the way that you'd see it currently out in Afghanistan. This armoured infantry fighting vehicle has a crew of 3 with a dismounted section of up to 7 fully fighting soldiers in the rear. Still armed with a 30mm Radin cannon and a 7.62mm chain gun. This will be used to transport the infantry onto the position and then to be able to provide fire support as necessary, working fully in conjunction with the heavier armour provided by the Challenger 2.
And in a similar way, I imagine that the context and configuration of these armoured infantry brigades, could you just tell the crowd here just how many armoured infantry battalions there will be?
Certainly. So again, the 3 brigades that are making up the reactive force elements, there'll be 2 armed infantry battalions within each of these brigades. They'll be made up of the 1st Battalion of the Royal Regiment of Fusiliers, 1st Battalion of the Royal Welsh, 1st Battalion of the Yorkshire Regiment, 1st Battalion of the Mercians, 5 rifles, and the 1st Battalion of the Princess of Wales's Royal Regiment. And as I say, they'll be all batted, so there'll be 2 battalions in each brigade, providing the brigadier with real strength and flexibility to all bat and produce a fighting force task organised to meet whatever threat he has to deal with.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let's see what happens now. So the infantry have secured and supported the leading call sign, and they've called forward the bridging equipment coming into the arena now. This is the Titan. It's operated by the Royal Engineers, and we'll see him going into action in just a moment. We've got a lot to say about him, but Simon, just tell us a bit about the engineer regiments that this vehicle is stationed with.
So again, within the reactive forces, we have the close support engineer regiments, 1 of these per armoured infantry brigade. Within each of these regiments, there's 3 armoured engineer squadrons, and then again, these are subdivided into particular facets and troops. Each troop having 3 of these Titans, and also 3 Trojans, which are used as complex obstacle crossing armoured vehicles.
And I'm told there are 2 different types of bridges. We can see the one being launched now is the number 12 bridge, or they can do a number 10 bridge. What's the difference between them?
Well, that's right, Simon. So the one you can see here is a number 12 bridge, which is capable of spanning 12 metres. This vehicle is capable of carrying 2 of these bridges. But in addition, to cross larger gaps, they would use a number 10 bridge, and this is capable of spanning 24.5 metres. And it does this by way of a scissor action to increase the length of span that it can do. You'll note that it's actually a relatively quick process. Clearly laying a number 10 bridge is faster than a number 10, but both can still be achieved very quickly.
So we've just seen this vehicle come into action, and of course the question the crowd will be asking is that who's providing the support while this process goes on?
So, whilst it's got its own armoured protection, we still have both the Challenger 2 and Overwatch, the infantry providing the close support to the bridge, and they're going to be getting themselves ready to cross and exploit to the far bank as soon as they can once the bridge is down.
So let's see what happens next.